It's now time to create the export file so that we can actually laser cut out our laser cut parts. The laser cut parts are all the flat parts. Obviously, we're going to 3D print our axles and our bolts, but all the other parts are going to be laser cut parts. In order to create these, we're going to create a new special component down here, and I'm going to call create, and I'm going to create a new component. The component name I'm going to give is going to be called DXF images. I'm going to call it DXF images because that is the format of the file that we want to be able to export out. We're going to need one for each thing that we're going to cut out. Now you can see here it's gone into this sort of view of the thing that basically says it's not going to be solid. This can be a bit confusing, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to turn off what we don't need to begin with. So we're going to need to do the upright, we're going to need to do the base, we're going to need to do the brace. Because all the braces are the same, we can turn off all the other braces. And the upright is the same, so we're going to turn off the upright. We're not going to print the axles. Sorry, cut the axles, we're going to print them. And we only need one washer visible. So this is basically what we're going to be able to laser cut. We're also going to need to laser cut a spur gear for each of the gears as well. We're going to start with the gears, so I'm going to turn the bodies off and just turn on the 24 tooth spur gear. I'm going to create a sketch and I'm going to create it on the surface of that spur gear. This sketch is going to be created in this DXF images component. I'm going to press P to project and I'm going to project the entire sketch and then press OK. I'm going to press on finish sketch. That's going to create a sketch down here, and the sketch we're going to create is called sketch 1. We're now going to call that sketch 24 gear because it is a 24 speed gear. Actually, I'm going to call it gear 24 and press enter. So that's gear 24. I'm going to turn that off. I know I've done that now, so I'm going to turn off my spur gear and I'm going to turn on my second spur gear, which I need to do. I'm going to work through. I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to create a DXF file. Sorry, I'm going to create a projection of that entire sketch. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to press finish sketch. That's going to create another sketch down here, which I'm going to call gear 12. And I'm going to turn it off. And I'm going to turn my gear off. I'm going to go through here, I'm going to turn my bodies back on again. And I'm going to right click and isolate this one here. Now if I unisolate it, it only turns back on what I had on before, which is nice. So let's isolate it again. And that's my upright. I'm going to create a sketch on that surface. I'm going to P for project and project everything there and then press on OK. And I'm going to finish the sketch. Down here is going to have a sketch here and it's going to be called upright. Enter. I'm now going to right click on upright and unisolate it. Now that it's done, I'm going to turn off that sketch. I'm going to turn off the upright and I'm going to continue working through all of my objects until it's done. I now have everything turned back on and I've got my sketches. They're all turned off. If I turn them on, it sort of starts to look rather confusing. So I like to have those turned off. I don't need to see them in order to be able to use them. What I'll do to make sure that I've got it all right is if I hover over this one, this little circle will pop up here. That's now the activated component and I can now see everything I need to see. Close this off and these are the sketches I need. So now that I've got the sketches that I need, I can actually export them. to a DXF format. To do this, I basically go right click on here and I go save as DXF. I'm basically going to put these in a new folder and I'm going to call it DXF files and hit create. And in my DXF files, I'm going to basically call this one gear 24 and I'm going to put in X1 because I only need one of them and hit save. Do the same thing for this one here. Right click on here, save as DXF, and it's going to be gear 12 X1 because I only need one of them. Right click on this one, save as DXF. This is my upright, and basically I'm going to put in two, sorry, because I need two of them. I'm going to right click on this one, save as DXF, washer, and I'm going to put in X4 because I need 4 of them and hit save. I'm going to right click on this one, save as DXF, and I'm going to put in base, and I'm going to put X1 because I need one of them. And this one here, which I forgot to label, let's label it properly now, which is called brace, and we're going to right click on it and save as DXF, and it's going to be called brace, and I'm going to need X4 of them and hit save. Now what I really should have done if I thought about it is that this material here for these is going to be 6mm thick, whereas all the others are going to be currently 3mm thick. Now if I need to change my material, I need to export those again, and that's important to note. If I need to change the thickness of my material, I need to change or re-export those again. So those are all for a material thickness of 3mm, which is going to suit us for our project because our plywood that we have is actually 3mm thick. Once you've got all your DXF files, you need to create a couple of new files in Adobe Illustrator. The new files you're going to need to create are one for your 6mm cuts, which are your cogs, and one for your the rest of your parts. So I'm going to create the 6mm one first. I'm going to create a new 6mm sheet. And they're going to be a width of 500 by 300. That's basically going to be the size we're using. Our units must be in millimeters, and that's pretty much it. We need 500 by 300 in millimeters, and we're going to call it 6mm sheet. I'm going to press OK. This is going to give me my full file size of what I'm going to be cutting. I now need to go File and Save. I need to save this in the same folder that I'm working in for everything else. So on my OneDrive, in my 2019 in Gear 9, Gear Systems, and I'm looking at my simple Gear System version there. I'll stick it in the DXF files and hit save. So basically, I've got mine saved now. Press OK for that, and it'll actually save the file. I'm now going to go File, and I'm going to go Place. Now I'm going to place my gear and my gear 24, but before I do that, I'm going to click on Show Import Options. I'm going to hit Place. I'm going to make sure that original size is checked, because if I don't check the original size, it's going to scale it up for some reason. So I'm going to press on OK. And I'm going to scale on OK again for that one. It's now going to let me put these two in place, one here and one here. So we can see now that we have our two files in place. I'm going to work on this so that they're as uptight and close to each other as I can. Without them touching. Now that they're as close to each other as possible, they are good to go. I'm going to do one more thing though. I'm going to basically use in my layers panel over here. Sorry, not in my layers panel. I'm going to basically lock this one in my layers panel over here, and I'm going to create a text box. The text box is going to use an outline, and it's going to use red. And over here, I'm going to basically put in my text box. Oh, I can't lock the layer. Why did I lock the layer? In my text box, I'm going to basically put the text over here, and the text is going to say TIC, which is my initials. I'm going to make it quite small, so I'm going to press escape at that point to get out of the text there. I'm going to make it quite small, maybe 6 points. I'm going to make it so that it has no fill and a red outline, and I'm going to move it with the moving tool. It's often better to use the arrow keys just into some nice places here on my particular cog there. And once I've got it there, I'm going to press Control C and Control V, and I don't know why I put it over there, but I'm going to move it to a place where it's nice and discreet here as well, like so. Okay, I'm then going to select all, and then on type, I'm going to hit create outlines. And that should be all I need to do for that. That's just going to put my name on it. I think 6mm is 6-point font's probably a bit too small, but that just puts my name on each part. I'm going to hit save now, file save. And now that I've got those, and it's important that that's red and it's important that that's black, don't choose other colors, I can now go and create a file new. And this is going to be my 3mm cut file, and it's going to be 500 and 300, and I'm going to use the units of millimeters. I'm going to press OK. On here, I'm going to go File, I'm going to go Place. I'm going to place everything, the base, the brace, the upright and the washer, show import options, make sure that it's original size for each one, and press OK. And you'll have to do it 4 times. And now I'm going to place each part as I go. So I needed 2 of these. So let's copy and paste this. Command C, Command V, or Control C and Control V if you're on a Windows machine. I need 1, 2, 3 more of those. It's important you don't scale these things. So I've got 3 of those, I need 4. Command C, Command V, there's another one. And I need Command C, Command V, 2, 3 more. And if I click on that and move that out, I can see what I have here. My objective is now to make these as efficient as possible in their placement. So basically, I'm going to try and place these as efficiently as I can around the place. Now, what I might do for these guys, for example, is rotate them 45 degrees. Actually, if I rotate them that way, that'll work. So maybe I should just delete these guys here and rotate them again, or copy them from this now. Command C, Command V, 2 and 3. And now that I've got that one there, put that one there, that one there. I accidentally went into the wrong thing there, so let's go back. And now I need to probably move these guys in place. I'm just moving these with my mouse for the time being. And to be really efficient, I can actually put these in here. Like so. And I'm pretty happy with that. What I need to also think about is putting things like text on it. So once again, I'm going to put my text on it here, and this is going to be some text over here, and it's going to be a 2 to 1. I don't know why I did that. 2 to 1 gear system. And I'm going to press escape. Might change the font to be something a little bit sort of more fancy. And I might move that up into a place that I think is good. Like so. And that looks good. And before I do anything, I'm going to change that to a red stroke with no outline. I'm pretty happy with that. I only want that on one side, so I'm going to right click on that and go create outlines. If you don't create outlines, it's not going to cut or print or etch. The idea here is that the red color gets etched while the black color gets cut, and so on and so forth. So even if you wanted to, for example, for some reason, draw a rectangle on here like so, if I leave that on there, that's going to etch itself a solid color there. I don't know why I do that, but basically that's what's going to happen. And you can see there I've put my name on everything. I'm just going to go select all, and I'm going to go type, and I'm going to go create outlines, just so that it definitely creates outlines for each of those little texts, so that they definitely will etch into the material. You notice I've put them in locations where they're not going to be seen, but each part comes off the laser cutter. I know it's mine, just in case it gets dropped or lost or something like that, or put in a box for later because somebody takes it off a laser cutter when I'm not here. You notice I didn't do it to my washers, but they're easy to cut, so we're not too concerned about those. But we've got it, and it's a lot more efficient in its layout now, so that's what we should be aiming for. We probably could select all of this here and just spend a bit more time just moving it a little bit closer together so that it's not impacting on other things, but that should be a lot better cut in terms of the efficiency of what we're trying to achieve. Once again, we're going to file save. We're going to copy those across now to a USB. Once those are copied across to USB, you can take them to the laser cutter where you'll be shown how to do that as you go.